Today's date is September 9th, 2023, and we have a very special in-person interview for our YouTube channel, Chalice Paul Disappeared, on our blog series that we're doing right now, currently. Today we have a guest visiting us here from Indiana, who happens to be Tanya Paul's son, the sister of John Paul Jr. and Michael Paul, which makes him John Paul Sr.'s grandson. His name is Conner Secondino. Hello, Conner. Welcome. How you doing?
It's going okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You like being in South Florida?
Yeah,
so far?
I haven't been here since I was 6, so it's a little different.
Yeah? Well, you're in a beautiful home here.
Yeah.
And, we welcome you into our family and hope that you feel comfortable. And we're all going out to dinner. We have a surprise guest coming tonight for dinner.
Sweet.
And so when was the last time you came to Florida?
Well, I don't remember the year, but I'm pretty sure I was about 6 years old.
6?
I'm pretty confident I was 6.
6? Okay. And you were born when?
I was born in 1993.
93? So that would have been in 1999.
Yeah, and that was for Christmas.
Christmas?
And I remember as a kid when we came here, it was one of the rare times that there was like a small flurry of somewhat snow.
In 1999?
Yeah.
Well, that was the year that your grandfather got out of prison.
Yeah.
He got out in, was it July of 1999? So it was around winter time that you came.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I know it was Christmas because there was a Christmas tree that my mom put up in his house.
Okay.
And had like gifts that handed out. I
So,
definitely remember it being Christmas.
He was staying in a house at the time. He wasn't living on his boat when you came down.
I think he might have been doing both, but we were using his house while he was getting his boat worked on, so to speak.
So he probably had a rental house, right?
Maybe.
He didn't.
You don't know. I know he
wasn't
wasn't there at the house the majority of the time that we were staying there.
Yeah. Do you remember if it was in the Florida Keys?
No.
You don't remember?
No, I don't know the Florida area and the cities of what there are very well to tell you that.
Okay. Because his boat was in Fort Lauderdale, but his boat was in dry dock in Isla Mirada, which is part of the Florida Keys. So I'm only assuming that he probably had a rental down there. But you said there was a house with a pool inside?
Yeah.
That's weird because most Florida Keys houses, they're all exposed to the sunlight and everything. People have indoor pools when they live in a cold environment.
Yeah, I remember it had an indoor pool, though.
Was it like a lap pool?
Maybe lap for me as a kid. It might have seemed bigger because I was short at the time.
So it was actually inside a room with walls around it, inside?
I remember it had like a little skylight above it and stuff. Like so you could see some sunlight, and there was like, I think if I remember correctly, there were some palm trees in the area. I think. But
wow. Was it on the water?
I don't think it was close to the ocean. Like, the ocean was not in the front yard, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, or the backyard.
Yeah.
Because down there in the Florida Keys, you have the bay side and then you have the ocean side.
It was definitely in a neighborhood. I remember there was lots of homes around his house. I think it was a gray house with vinyl siding on it. But again, I was a kid, so it's kind of fuzzy on the details.
Right. But you remember the boat? The boat?
Yeah.
What color was the boat?
Blue.
Blue?
Yeah, I believe it was blue.
Was it big? Or big in your perspective at your age?
To me, I thought it was bigger than a Walmart when I saw it. It was a really big boat.
Yeah? So did you board on the boat?
I remember going up on the deck with this little lift kind of thing that was made out of wood for us to get up onto the boat with, but we didn't go inside the boat. We just went onto the deck. But I don't remember a whole lot about the deck originally. I just know he had it out on dry dock for the propeller being replaced.
So it was up on stilts?
Yeah.
Kind of?
Yeah.
But it was secure enough for you to be able to board onto it?
Yes.
Yeah. So you think it was in a marina?
Yeah, probably.
Marina from what you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Don't know the name of it.
Yeah, well, there's only a handful down there, but, there was a reenactment show that was done on ID Network called Disappeared about Colleen Wood.
Yep.
And they showed in the reenactment that a couple of detectives went down to interview him in Isla Mirada, and the boat was in dry dock at a marina in Isla Mirada. So he was planning a trip. He wasn't going to stick around and stay here and do what's expected to him on parole. So, when they came, he got cold feet and he took off. He put the boat in the water and took off. And I guess he got it fixed wherever he had to get it fixed somewhere else, or made it drivable that he could put it in the water and take off. So I'm wondering if that's around the same time that you were here, if it was still in dry dock.
Probably. Could be.
Yeah? So you don't remember any of that story, though?
No.
No. Of course, they would shield you of that.
Yeah, I did not know anything about the whole drug smuggling side of things or missing people or any of that until I was in college already.
Yeah.
And I had my own regular access to the internet to do whatever I wanted to do as an adult that I started finding out this stuff.
Yeah.
As people started contacting me on Facebook.
Right.
But...
Is that around the time I contacted you, too?
I think I had a few other people contact me before you did.
Really?
Yeah.
Where were they? Were they wanting to sell a story, or?
I remember the first thing that came up in memory was someone thought that I had connection to, they thought that I was constantly in touch with my grandfather. And this was, I think I was 19 at the time.
Was that a man from Australia?
I have no idea anymore. Okay. I think it was a woman, actually.
A woman?
I think it was a woman that contacted me about this. But I didn't know anything to tell them about this. And I was very confused. But they told me to look up these couple documentaries about my grandfather because I really had no idea about this stuff.
So I'm wondering, was it law enforcement?
No, I don't think it was law enforcement.
Just somebody curious that found you on Facebook?
Yep.
Really?
I think so, as far as I'm aware.
So that was when you were 19?
Yeah, but I don't remember who they were by name. This was a while ago for me.
Yeah?
I'm 30 now, so it's still been a minute.
I wonder, let's see. So that was 11 years ago.
Yep.
Right? Okay. It wasn't me, was it? You can recall?
I don't think so.
I don't think I knew about you until I started researching Tanya. When Tanya was, because I wanted to reach your mother about Chalice's halter top.
Yeah.
I think that was when she was in hospice. That was 2012 or 13? 2012. Because she passed away in 2012?
Yeah, she passed away in 2012.
Okay. So that was when I hooked up with Trish Paul, John Paul Jr.'s former wife, and she was volunteering information to me. And she recalled seeing the top, Chalice's favorite metal halter top on Tanya. So I wanted to reach out to her before she passed, and then I found out through Facebook entries on John Paul Jr.'s public page that she had passed away. But I never had any contact with Michael or you at that point. So anyway, when was the last time you ran into family members besides that trip when you were 6 years old? Did you see anybody after that?
Again, I don't remember a lot of their names, but I know there was somebody we were visiting during that trip that had a lot of oranges in their yard. It was a woman, but I don't remember the connection to the family or her name.
She had a lot of oranges?
Yeah, that's all I really remember. It's terrible. Again, I was a 6-year-old.
She had orange trees?
I just remember being excited because she had orange trees in her yard, and I never had fresh oranges, I guess.
So that was...
Yeah. But I don't remember. It was a family member. I just don't remember who. Might have been an aunt. I don't know.
Well, I wonder if it was Elizabeth. Was it your grandmother's sister?
I think Elizabeth lived in Indiana, though.
Yeah, Elizabeth Dungeon. And she bought a house in Fort Myers, and that's where Mike ended up. When he left Muncie, he went there, and he went there to do work at her house, and he ended up staying there. She had 2 houses, so he maintained one and lived in one. But I don't know if she had orange trees. We'll have to ask Michael about that. If that's the gray house, and, we ID orange trees at her house, then...
If they're still around today. I mean, again, they could have died off by now.
Yeah, well, orange trees usually stick around. They don't die.
Unless they're not maintained, right?
Yeah, but I think that might be the mystery. But you probably don't remember a car ride maybe to where the boat was.
Not too well.
Yeah, because that's a big boat. I mean, there's only a couple of marinas up here where he could dry dock it, where it could be, unless he had it dry docked here and then put it in the water and then took it down to Isla Morada and had to dry dock it again. But anyways.
I'm pretty sure we took my mom's Honda Civic around for all of that. She had like a red well, it would have been 2000. I don't know. It was a red EK Civic.
Yeah?
So.
Okay.
But I can't remember the year specifically of the Civic, but I remember she got it new, and I'm sorry, Mom, but she was a terrible driver. Got a lot of dents.
I heard she was at one of I think Daytona 500, and she got stuck. It was a monsoon rainstorm. Yeah. I guess she got stuck in the tunnel. I guess they have a tunnel there. I didn't see it when I was there.
I think she said she got it with help from her grandfather.
Yeah, it was when Joyce died.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
He divvied up her estate, and Mike got shortchanged on that one. But John Paul Jr. and Tanya got the bigger benefit from the proceeds of her estate, from what I've heard from Michael Paul. Okay, let's talk about Tanya, and then I want to talk about your dad. Tanya, you brought a photo, and then she was absolutely gorgeous. She dyed her hair. She's normally a brunette, right? Mm-hmm. She's a natural brunette.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And your grandma also dyed her hair blonde at one point. She was a brunette because we have photos of her, but she had really dark curly hair.
I do remember my grandma on my mom's side a little bit but from the house that I was growing up. Well, I wouldn't say growing up in. The house that we lived in Muncie, Indiana, before getting the house in Hartford City that I actually grew up in. I do remember vaguely here and there about my grandma. She was bedridden at the time.
Right.
And I remember she died actually while I was in the room with her. So.
You were there when she passed?
I remember my mom was crying a lot and was, hugging me for a bit. She just passed away right in front of us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That's always a hard thing, especially when you're a child. It's hard to go to a funeral and see them dead in a casket, let alone have them pass right in front of you,
Yeah, I don't think I was part of the funeral there. Probably, if I had to guess, my mom probably had me stay somewhere during said funeral because I probably would have been... Well, I was a young kid. I probably would have been noisy and rambunctious during the funeral. So,
right.
Understandable. I was like 3 at the time. So.
You were 3 when she died?
Yeah.
Okay. So your father, Michael Secondino, how old were you when he passed away?
Mom said he was 2. I don't have any memory of him, though.
You were 2? Now, I tried to do some research on Mike Secondino and find anything I could find in archive records, but all I could find was, date of death and everything. But I heard from Trish Paul's version of events and then Michael Paul's version of events. But let me hear your version of events and what happened to him and why he passed away.
I remember my mom telling me that he had a seizure and smacked his head on a table, like a hardwood table on the corner of it, and that's why he died. But
what kind of seizure do you think he had?
Not sure. The type of seizures, probably the same kind I have, because I also have epilepsy.
Oh, so he had epilepsy?
Yeah.
You think? Yeah?
Yeah.
So you think he had an epileptic attack and collapsed in his head?
That's my guess.
Brain concussion?
I wasn't there for it, obviously, but Mom said that he had a seizure and fell over on the table.
Yeah. Was she there in the house when he passed away?
I would assume so.
Yeah.
I didn't ask, I guess, but I would assume she was. She was there for it.
Right.
They were living together.
Yeah. But they never got married, right?
No, they did not.
No. So you don't have any memories because you were too young. You were 2 years old.
Yes.
Okay. So what do you remember of your uncles and your grandparents on both sides? Did you have a relationship with John Paul Jr. or with Michael Paul growing up?
Not with Senior, but with John Paul Jr. Occasionally there'd be like a phone call that is like that. My mom would be like, "Hey, you want to talk to your Uncle John?" I'm like, "Yeah, sweet." I remember Uncle Mike. It's like used to be pretty friendly with him. And it's like as a younger kid until he took away my dog. And then we had like a falling. Yeah, he had a dog named Blackjack, but I was really bad about taking care of it. And he was the mom didn't want to step in and be like, "Hey, you really shouldn't have a dog." Yeah. But he did, and I kind of had a falling out with him for a while. I realize now, growing up, that I was, in the wrong, and I didn't really have a reason to hate him for like 7 years.
Okay.
But
What about the flood? I heard you used to put things in toilets. It caused a flood in the house.
I might have. I really messed up that poor house.
Well, let's wait until you two get together and he can explain his version of events and you guys can interact on that, because that's kind of funny. He told me some stories about his memories of you as his little nephew. He wanted to strangle because of all the construction work he had to do around the house.
He was doing some sidewalk stuff there because we needed a sidewalk, and he poured new cement, and I rode my bicycle through it, put tire tread marks into fresh concrete. He was bad.
Yeah, I would be too. Yeah. But he didn't do anything, right?
No.
No?
He wanted to.
Okay. So, after your mother passed, you were mentioning to me that you had to go through the foster care program, and you had to have a foster parents or solo parent?
Yep. I was saying I wound up in foster care for in 2010. Yeah.
And nobody was willing to take you in, Junior or Michael, or they weren't.
I was like maybe Mike was just probably. I was like I don't think I wanted to go with Mike, so to speak, at the time, because I still was holding the grudge over the whole dog thing.
Right.
But I still didn't know a whole lot. But anyway, it's I didn't know any other family in Indiana at the time, so I just kind of went to foster care. But
John Paul Jr. wasn't willing to help you, or his wife, or they were separated then. When I met Trish in 2012, they were already separated, and he started a new life in California.
They may not have known that I was up for going into foster care, and I didn't know how to contact them.
Yeah.
But it ended up pretty well, to be honest, because I ended up getting stuck with a really good foster parent of all of them. I got lucky.
Good. You stay in touch with that foster parent?
I did. He died 2 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay.
He was like a father figure to me. Rolf Niestead was his name. He was a good man. He really helped me get my ass into gear, because I remember when I was staying with my mom in high school, I was like really bad about going to school. I would frequently just be at home being like, I don't feel like going today. I want to play Halo.
Well, I mean, if you can get out and go into school, I guess you would if you could, right? But that's why you need parents to put boundaries up for you.
Yeah, but it was like I thought I was going to end up for sure flunking out of school, but he actually got me on track to graduating on time. I
had it verified. We already talked about it, the Chalice's favorite halter top. I don't know if I brought that in the conversation. But you don't recall ever seeing her halter top on your mom?
No.
No? Because I showed it to you from the website. After your mother passed away, you don't know where all her personal belongings went. You never got the family photos. The house was foreclosed. And
I think the house was sold to be able to have money to do the apartment that we wound up with in Muncie. I wound up losing like a lot of our old stuff because of moving. Like I was basically the one doing the moving from the house originally, because I just orchestrated a friend I knew in high school with a truck. I was like, you think you can help me move this stuff over here? The only person I knew with a truck there.
Right.
And we moved it out, what I could fit into the truck, and that was it.
So everything else probably got tossed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame. Family photos, that happened a lot with Michael Paul, because I asked him the same question, but it seemed like the women in his life didn't have any respect or appreciation for photography like I do. I don't even care if you're my worst enemy. I'm not going to destroy the photo of you because, it captures a moment in time in life that you can never get back, and that's what photography is. And because I'm a photographer, I have a deep appreciation and respect for photography because you got to value it. I don't throw them out. Did you ever go to any races of your famous uncle or grandfather? I guess you were too young for that.
I do remember going to one of his races. I don't remember which year it was, but
was that junior?
Yeah, it was junior. I never went to any of my grandfather's races.
Yeah.
But it's like, anyway, for junior, I do remember going to one of his races at the Indianapolis 500 track.
Really?
Yes. And
was that when he crashed?
No.
During the practice lap?
No, he didn't crash during this race. So,
yeah.
But I remember it was quite amusing. We were pretty close to the actual racetrack itself.
Yeah, because you're a family. You're probably near the pit.
Yeah.
Right. Well.
And he also took me into the gravelly area that all the RVs are stuck at.
Right.
He was introducing me to a lot of the other drivers.
Right.
And I was a young kid, so I did not realize how special of a moment this was.
Yeah, exactly. So was his wife Trish there with the kids? His kids?
I think so.
Yeah? So you remember meeting them.
I remember mostly meeting them in Florida at their house, but I don't know if they were there at the track when I went or not. I'm not 100% sure.
Right.
But
that was in Indianapolis 500, but you never went to a race in Florida?
No.
No, or Georgia. Okay.
No, the only track I went to was the Indianapolis 500.
Okay.
And I found out later on, as an adult, I went to the museum there once and found his name on a plaque. So that was neat. They still got his name on a plaque in the actual museum there at the Indy 500 track.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I thought it was neat to see.
Was he racing the little blue car? Blue Porsche?
No, he had my uncle, when I saw his race, he was racing a red Honda F1 car.
Cool. Okay. Has any law enforcement ever tried to reach out to you and talk to you about John Paul Sr.?
No.
No? Nobody. Okay. Well, you don't have anything to offer. That's probably
exactly.
why, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know of all the stories you read or heard other than what you research on your own on the internet? Have you read chalicepaul.com and listened to our podcast? And all the racing blog pages that have been out since John Paul got out of prison?
The one that you interviewed before previously, because I was kind of curious how it went. But, I'm pretty busy as far as stuff that I usually try to keep up with, so
you don't have time to research.
Yeah, if it's longer than 45 minutes, I usually don't watch it.
Right. Okay. So you have limited time on that.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think your grandfather John Paul Sr. is responsible for the missing persons that were associated with him?
Yeah, definitely. It kind of sounds like it would be shocking if not.
Well, it seems like all roads are leading to him.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
exactly.
With all the research I've done, and I've unfolded more than even law enforcement as far as other men that have gone missing, that surprisingly enough, have not been investigated, like Chalice Paul. There's two gentlemen in particular, and they worked with him in his drug smuggling operation. But then Michael, your uncle, announced a guy whose body floated ashore in Spain, a guy named Bubba that he used to play pool with, and that was up in Merritt Island, I believe, where he was living growing up intermittently with his mom in Muncie, or Farmland. I think they lived in a town called Farmland.
Maybe that town sounds familiar.
Yeah, that's up in farmland country of Indiana, right?
Yeah.
If you had an opportunity to reach out to your grandfather or get his side of the story, would you want to do that?
Yes, I really would.
Yeah, I know you mentioned this once
preferably alone if I could, just so I could like actually ask questions and know he's not like trying to hide anything from me.
Do you think he'd be dangerous and you'd be fearful for your life?
I mean, I wouldn't do it like it's like in a room alone with him, but more like if I could find him, I don't know, at a restaurant, a public setting, and sit down and talk to him, then maybe. But right. I meant by alone, I mean like not a lot of other people that me and him know.
Right.
Worry about it.
Would you go to Thailand if he's still in Thailand?
I don't have a way to go there, but sure, why not?
So you would go and actually seek him out and sit down and talk to him and have a conversation. By the way, do you know Adrian Jade Paul? She's Hope Paul's daughter, and John Paul Sr.'s daughter.
No.
No? Okay. She lives in California. She was close to Junior and Darlene Gray. She went to Thailand. We're only assuming by photos that she had posted herself on Instagram that she made contact with him over there. But she would be a good source if you ever wanted to go and meet with him and interview him. Maybe you could be the guy to do it.
Maybe.
Maybe he wouldn't feel threatened if his grandson came to visit.
Maybe.
Right?
Yeah.
It might be $1 million story.
Maybe. Who knows?
Would you ever leave Indiana and live anywhere else, or is that going to be your home for the rest of your life?
It's like if I'm honest, the only reason I really stick around Indiana is because it's where everybody I know is at. So
you have a comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I don't have an attachment to the state itself. It's just where I've grown up and everyone I know is.
And you have all your friends there.
Yeah. But if for any reason everyone moved away or something happened, falling out, whatever, I guess I would move away. I might go to like, I don't know, maybe Nevada. It's kind of like California, but I don't want to live in California.
Do you like Florida?
Yeah.
Would you live in Florida?
It's not bad. I just don't, I guess, know it very well. I don't know.
Would you like to live with your Uncle Mike?
I mean, mate, he's a bit of a drunk, so maybe not live with. But I don't.
No, he's reforming himself. He's doing pretty well, actually. He's cut back quite a bit because he's got to work. He's got to make a living. So.
So I'm told.
Yeah.
That would be the day if he actually stops drinking.
Well, he did it once. He did it in Fort Myers for quite a while for his aunt.
But relapsed.
Yeah, well, it happens. You can't help anybody unless they want to help themselves. That's the bottom line. So here's the last question I have for you. What is your life ambitions and goals in life? What do you want to do for the rest of your life?
Well, I thought I wanted to do it as I wanted to be an electrician, as I can get my journeyman for a while. And I did go to college for that, but I found out the hard way that to get your actual journeyman's card, you have to work with a company for 6 years.
Right.
And the whole epilepsy thing means that it's like nobody told me until I started looking for job interviews that if you have epilepsy, you can't drive a commercial vehicle. It's more they can't insure you. It's really hard for a company to insure you to drive a commercial vehicle if you have epilepsy.
Really?
So getting into a company to get an electrician apprenticeship to get your actual journeyman's card is really hard to do.
Because of your medical reason.
But,
well, could you, and you have to disclose that to be hired?
No, I've tried telling them up front and not saying anything. They find it anyway.
Really? Okay. So now you said your current occupation a security guard.
Yeah.
That's good.
Pretty calm job. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty comfortable with it.
Okay. Well,
but I do like the location a lot.
Yeah.
I go to the roof when I feel like it and go see the skyline of Indianapolis, like right in front of me, I guess.
That's funny you bring up the roof because, we're going to be making a special trip tomorrow, and Michael Paul used to go to the roof of where we're going tomorrow. We won't disclose that in the interview. That's going to be another interview. But anyways, that concludes our interview. We got to get ready for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
We're going out to dinner, and we're going to meet somebody who knew your uncle and your grandfather. So I'm looking forward to, and I'm meeting him for the first time tonight too, even though I've known him over the phone, and he did participate on my podcast. So we're going to have a great dinner tonight. So let's just wrap it up here, and I'm so glad you came here, Conner, and were able to share your life and your memories and everything with us. And we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome.